something else and it just went to 10 of everything. Okay.
Evan, you need a tech editor. You need a tech editor
That's
to
what
check
you
the
are.
grammar.
That's what you are.
Got it. I'm worried the call comes back.
Okay. There
I'm
we
in the
go.
agenda, but
You're in the agenda. How do you get back? Try that.
I was just trying to,
This little left arrow at the top.
where the hell do I go?
Go to Safari there.
Oh, that's Safari.
Type in that.
Type in.
Is
Alex
is the
Chelmsford.
copy distributed
US
tonight the
agenda.
same as
Okay.
what was emailed?
Slightly different. The
Navigate
the
you
one
right
tonight
where
has
I'm
the
at.
track changes of
Okay.
the additions.
Okay.
Oh,
All
man,
right.
Colleen.
You ran that phone.
Seeing the hours, 7 o'clock. I'm calling the planning board meeting of November 8th, 2017 to order. For the record, we're being televised by Chelmsford Telemedia for broadcast today and for future. If anyone in the audience is taping or recording this, please let me know. Seeing none, the first item on the agenda is 93 Littleton Road, A&R 645, approval not required. Pat Flaherty for Alex Yower, 93 Littleton Road, seek endorsement of approval not required plan. Please state your name and address for the record.
Date of birth.
Patrick Flaherty, I'm a land surveyor and civil engineer for, here for Alex Yawa, who owns some property on Littleton Road. As you go out the center, not very far, 1,000 feet or so, on the right-hand side, you see, if you remember, Harrington's Paving Company on the right. This is just before there. He's got about an acre and a half, and his house is set in the back. And I don't know if you can get that up, Colleen, or not.
I didn't,
Okay,
I thought it was there. I
good
didn't
thing
do
I
it.
brought this. Anyway, he's got about an acre and a half of property, and his house sits in the back, and he has two neighbors on Littleton Road that would like to buy small parcels of land from him. That's what we're here for today. There's no new lots being created, just two small parcels to add to the amenities to their homes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Monica, Glenn, Ed, Mike,
No, this looks
Henry,
vanilla.
Nancy?
Is there wetlands there?
There's a culvert there, then there's some small amount of wetlands, but not very much, yeah. But none of this land that's being transferred would be considered wetland.
So I just have a question, and maybe there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
The, behind number 85,
yeah,
you have parcel B, and then you have a little section that between parcel A and the property line's 33 plus or minus feet,
yeah.
and that 2,343 square feet is gonna be excluded per our zoning bylaw in the area for the lot 1A.
Correct.
Was there any reason for the shapes of these parcels instead of just pushing that back and,
The homeowners decided, based on one of them is based on some stone wall that's existing there.
sure,
And the one that's closest to that parcel you mentioned, it was just based on trees and what they wanted to have.
Okay.
Yeah, I know they're odd shapes, yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
that 2,343 square feet is not gonna do
Yeah.
any good for the lot in the back, because it can't be,
No,
if they decide to do something back there, they can't
Yeah.
count it.
I know, I explained that
Well, they
to
can't
Alex.
get to it either with the wetland there.
Pat, I did put the GIS map up, if you wanna
Oh,
look at it that
okay,
way.
yeah.
I can put those wetlands right through it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's an interesting,
It's dead space.
Okay, I was just curious, so,
yeah.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'd give you a motion to approve planning, A&R 645,
With no determination
no
to zoning.
determination to zoning.
Second, Glenn, motion by Glenn, second by Henry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Great.
Unanimous?
Thank you for your courtesy.
Have those plans back.
You sure you finished that?
Next item on the agenda is Boston Road Harvest Lane, Planning Board 2017-10, request for endorsement of Mylars.
Thank you. Oh, no, no. Sure. Oh, yeah. We'll have two to sign. Excellent.
We have a letter from,
It's from Christina.
yeah. Dear members of the offices, review the subdivision plans by Howard Stein Hudson Associates consisting of 6 sheets dated June 13, 2017, revised through November 6, 2017, a supplemental data report dated June 2017, revised through September 2017. As a result of the review of the offices, the following comments: the office concerns have been met sufficiently, and the plans have been revised accordingly. We recommend endorsement of the Mylars. If you have any questions, please contact this office, 978-250-5228. Christina Papadopoulos. Do you have anything to add?
I do not.
You want to state your name and address?
Sure.
for the record?
Sure. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson, offices at 114 Turnpike-Road in Chelmsford. I just submitted to Colleen the Mylars for this project.
Okay. I'll entertain a
I
motion.
move that we endorse the Mylars.
Second?
I have a motion by Mike, a second by Glenn to endorse the Mylars. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous?
Okay, thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is Bulgarian Terrace.
Which was actually already continued to December 13th. It's right on the, I
So
just
that's
made a
continued.
note of that, because I don't want to lose track of it.
Okay, so that's continued to December 13th. Next item,
Actually, December 2nd on the minutes.
okay, well, we'll fix that afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a new public hearing, 135 Dalton Road.
Yeah, I believe it's continued.
Yeah.
So
Okay. We have to read the open.
I think we should read the public notice first and then read the
Actually,
continuance.
the gentleman's here, if you want to ask him. No? Okay.
Just open the hearing first.
Open the hearing.
That way we
gotta
don't have
open
to
the hearing.
re-advertise it.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's read the notice. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, November 8th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at town offices located at 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass., to consider the application of Mark Robidoux for a definitive subdivision located at 135 Dalton Road. The applicant requests definitive subdivision approval and applicable waivers under subdivision control law and rules and regulations governing the subdivision of land in the town of Chelmsford. The project proposes to create one new lot off an existing right-of-way. The site is located in an RB residential zoning district. The site is approximately 2.84 acres as shown on Assessors Map 51, Block 230, Lot 17. Copy of the proposal is available in the Planning Board office, located at the town offices, 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass., and may be viewed Monday through Friday between 9 and 4 p.m. All interested parties invited to comment in writing will be present at the meeting. Per George Zaharulis, Chair. Okay, we got a couple of letters.
We're just gonna read the continued, don't read any of the others.
Okay. All right, I guess this is the continuing thing. Dear board members, I'm currently working with Christina Papadopoulos on a few issues she brought to my attention. I respectfully request a continuance without testimony to December 13th so that I can address her concerns. Signed, Matt Hammer, Landplex LLC.
So before I entertain a motion, I've given a consideration to, because of timing of holidays, we normally don't have another meeting till December 13th. Thinking that we should have one the first week of December, December 6th on a Wednesday. So is the applicant here? Is it okay if we continue to the 6th, and if we have to continue it again, we will?
I'd be happy. All the engineering alterations will be done before then, so I'd be happy to
Okay.
have it.
So I'm gonna ask for a motion to continue to December 6th.
So moved?
I have a motion by Mike, a second by Glenn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So that takes care of that one.
Heck, did I get this thing?
Maple, you want to do Maple?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So the next item on the agenda is a new public hearing, 16 Maple Road, Planning Board File 2017-15, site plan and special permits.
Okay, let's read the public notice. Legal notice. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, November 8, 2017, at 7 p.m. at Chelmsford Town Office, 50 Billerica Road, Room 204, to consider the application submitted by Lockheed Martin Missile and Fire Control for property located at 16 Maple Street, map 116, block 461, lots 1 and 3. The property is located in the limited industrial and neighborhood commercial zoning districts. The project proposes a 12,800 square foot two-story addition, the creation of 42 new parking spaces, and associated site improvements. The applicant requests site approval, section 195-104, and a special permit 195-17B, and any other relief that may be deemed necessary. Copies of proposal are available in the Community Development Room, L101 of the town offices of 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824. It may be viewed Monday through Friday between 9 and 4. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or attend the meeting. Per George Zaharulis, Chair.
I'll start with this one, and these are the other letters.
Okay.
This one's from the police department. They have no concerns, but there is a letter. The Division of Special Services reviewed the attached site plans from the Town of Chelmsford Planning Board for 16 Maple Road. The applicant requests site plan approval, section 195-104, and special permit 195-17B. Upon careful review of the plans, do not see any increased traffic or safety issues that would occur as a result of these plans. Based on a review of the plans, the Division of Special Services does not have an issue with this project moving forward. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Lieutenant Colin C. Spence, Special Service Division, Chelmsford Police Department.
Okay, let's get into all the other department letters. This is from the building commissioner. He has a letter. Okay, dear board, please be advised, as requested, I've reviewed the proposal as submitted for the above-mentioned project and offer the following. Memorandum states creation of 42 new parking spaces. Parking summary chart provided states only 22 additional spaces. And he ends it with a question mark. Next bullet point. How many parking spaces are being eliminated / relocated due to additional structure? Question mark. Signed, Mark Dupel, Building Commissioner. Put him there. Okay, this one is from Community Development Director, no concerns. This one's from the Board of Health, Susan Rosa, no concerns. Now we have a longer letter from Christina Papadopoulos, DPW. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by VHB consisting of 12 sheets dated September 22nd, 2017, and a stormwater report dated 2017. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. 1, this department shall be notified when work on site is to commence in order to arrange for inspections. 2, any revisions to the drainage system shall be submitted and approved by this office. 3, stormwater operation and maintenance plan shall be followed as described in the report. Copies of any inspections or other reports done in accordance with the plan shall be forwarded to the engineering office. 4, a site as-built shall be provided upon completion of the work on site. As-built to include a letter from the engineer stating that all stormwater devices have been built to satisfy Mass Stormwater standards. Provide all supporting documents and calculations. The as-built shall be from a ground survey and submitted in AutoCAD in paper form. 5, confirmatory testing shall be performed in the area of the infiltration system per stormwater management guidelines. The testing shall be witnessed by the Chelmsford DPW/Engineering Division. All unsuitable material, if any, discovered in the excavation for the infiltration system shall be removed and disposed of in accordance with state and local regulations. 6, this project requires a Eptas construction general permit. A final copy of the stormwater pollution prevention plan must be submitted to the town, as well as filed with the EPA prior to beginning any site work. The proposed sewer work this is 7. The proposed sewer work will require permitting from the DPW Sewer Division for connection to the municipal sewer system. 8, trench permits shall be filed as necessary per 520 CMR 14, Chapter 82A. 9, the design engineers received design and drafting review comments from this office. Some additional technical information is required to complete the review. Okay. If you have any questions, please contact this office, 978-250-5228, signed Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer. Yours, George.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Ryan Adams, 14 Perham Road.
Okay.
Okay, good evening. My name's Ryan. Like I said, I live here in Chelmsford, but I'm the operations manager for Lockheed Martin. So I just wanted to stand in front of you today. We're seeking approval for the site expansion. We have our civil engineer and our architect that are here to answer a lot of the questions, but I just wanted to introduce myself in case there was any questions that needed to come to us as the owners. We're in need of this expansion. It's a small expansion. We're located at 16 Maple Road. We are a microelectronic assembly manufacturer. Primarily what we do at the site is design engineering work, and final assembly of microelectronics. This expansion is just needed for an increase in business where we need to bring in some additional engineers and also have floor space for more assembly work. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. You can see the rendering. This is what it will look like from Maple Road. The expansion is this section that's sticking out from the building. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Tom. Scott, our architect, he can talk a little bit more about the building, and then Steve Chenard is here. He's our civil engineer for any questions on the site plan. So.
Can you get me going?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Tom Scott. I'm the architect, and just going to talk briefly about the design and how we came up with the solution that we have in front of you tonight. We did look at several options around the building and around the site. We had some parameters that we had to take into consideration with regard to the design. One being this least disruptive to the existing operation of the facility. So we tried to place the addition in a location where it could be built almost exclusively outside of the footprint of the existing building. That allowed them to keep all of their operations moving and intact, and while we were able to, or will be able to build the addition. The addition itself, we've put in located in the southeast quadrant of the site. As Ryan mentioned, this is the view from Maple Road, so it's pretty far back within the existing parking field. We did also take into consideration the existing architecture of the building, tried to be respective and responsive to that. As well, we were trying to really play down the addition so that it was not offensive to the neighbors or the neighborhood or any of the abutters that have to see the project from the road. So the facility itself, the first floor would be the micro assembly area, so it doesn't require any windows. So we opted to kind of express the structural elements of the second floor structure. So the columns are expressed, but there are no windows at the first floor level. The second floor level is administrative offices and employee cafe and lunchroom. So we opted to make some larger windows, picture style windows. It actually overlooks the wetlands in the back of the site. So it'll be a great place for the employees of the facility to have their lunch. It's not a cafe. There's no food preparation that occurs here. All of the facilities within the employee lunchroom are just microwaves, countertops, vending areas, refrigerators for people's lunch, and that sort of thing. Thank you. That existing program today is housed in this part of the building on the first floor with very small windows. And if people want to see what's going on with the weather outside, they really have to get up and move outside. This is going to give them a much nicer opportunity to be in a space that really is much more accommodating for the employees of the facility. We did try to keep the size to exactly the same height of the existing building. We are going to screen all of the rooftop equipment, so we have visual screens that we're going to plan for any of the rooftop equipment will not be visible from Maple Road. And one of the other things that we kept intact is this is the employee entrance today. And so we built the addition so that there's an overhang here that becomes the cover and protection for that particular entrance. So the handicap ramp and the stairway will be protected from the weather by the overhang of the second floor portion of the building. So we tried to think about keeping some of the existing amenities of the building intact and working the addition around what's already there and working well today. Pretty much that's it. I think I'm going to turn it over to Steve Chenard. He's the site civil engineer, and he's going to talk about the parking issues and some of the other site-related issues.
Thank you, Tom. Again, my name is Steve Chenard. Site civil engineer with VHB. Did I get the right one? Yes, I did. To get you familiar with the site, this is a 6.85 acre site located at 16 Maple Road. The site right now is predominantly developed. It has a 68,500 square foot building in 2 floors. What we're proposing is a approximately 13,000 square foot addition on 2 floors as well. So it's about 6,500 square foot on the ground. The plan shows 42 new parking spaces being developed, 25 of them out on Maple Road, and another 17 spaces at the back of the site for a total of 42 new spaces, but because of the location of the proposed building, 20 of the existing spaces on the ground are going to be removed. So the question from the building inspector is, yes, there are 42 new spaces. We did that calculation for the Conservation Commission because they were concerned about how much more pavement we're adding. but the building is going to take up 20 of those existing spaces. So it's an increase of 22 spaces on the site. In order to maintain stormwater, and I recently received the comments from town engineer, and I will be getting in touch with you early next week to discuss the comments you had. What we have, just briefly for the drainage system, is because we're adding those 25 spaces up against Maple Road, currently all the stormwater runoff from the site drains from Maple Road across that expansive parking lot and captured in a series of 6 catch basins at this edge of the parking lot, out through here. So all that water just sheet flows across the parking lot, ponds on top of the catch basins, and from those catch basins it goes into a large 42-inch infiltration system that's underneath the parking lot that runs from here to the back of the building. Because we're introducing new pavement to that portion of the site, what we're doing is we're creating a new drainage system at that location to be able to capture that new stormwater runoff and reduce the flows that are going into the existing system. The system's been designed for a 25-year design storm. At a 100-year design storm, the water just sits on the parking lot and slowly infiltrates afterwards. We'll be providing the calculations showing that it will infiltrate within the 72 hours as required. There are no utilities being proposed for this expansion. All the utilities are coming from inside the building. So any of the new plumbing within this expansion goes back into the existing building, goes out the same sewer that's already there. There is no new sewer connection. There is no new water connection. The water system will just be brought out into the existing, from the existing building out into the new expansion. All the electrical will be brought from the new building, so there's no wires coming in. It's pretty much self-contained little area right here on the site. And as Tom explained, that location is chosen so that the remainder of the site can stay up and running while this is being done. Right now, truck traffic comes in off of the western driveway. These are the service loading areas. There's another loading area back here, so the trucks can just be able to come around this while this is being built and be able to get out. There's also an area back in here if they don't want to come into the parking lot. They can do a wide turn at the back and come back out as well. All the parking, as I said, 20 parking spaces at the front will be relocated out towards, at the front of the building, will be relocated out into the front part of the parking lot. We did meet with the Conservation Commission last month. They had several concerns regarding our location of snow storage. And we've provided we have a plan for them that is going in next week for our continued hearing on that, showing the location of the snow storage areas on the site, all being outside a 100-foot buffer to the wetlands. They also had a concern about material storage during construction, whereas the excavated material is going to be coming from when the foundations are excavated. We've also shown those in the drawings, and we'll be sharing those with your staff as well once we finalize those. We have test pits. Actually, a boring contractor was there today doing geotechnical testing for the foundations for this building and for the infiltration system. So that's happening today and tomorrow. Hopefully by the beginning of next week, we'll be able to provide all the answers that you're looking for regarding the stormwater infiltration capacity of the infiltration system. Pretty much self-contained right there on the site. No new utility connections. Pretty straightforward. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Nan, you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. This landscaping plan's pretty minimal.
Yeah, we're dropping this into a middle of a parking lot that's paved from edge to edge.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what I was concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you can get a little more landscaping in there to soften that whole vista?
I hear you. We our direction was to
It's
get.
pretty stark.
We needed to get more parking spaces, both for the number of employees that will be added to this, as well as this facility receives a lot of visitors that come in, government officials coming in to look at it. So we have a lot of, we have parking spaces that we really feel we need. We can look at the perimeters and add some more landscaping around the perimeters.
So in
Oh.
these views, I'm seeing some actual landscaping.
Yes,
and
in front of the
your drawings,
building.
I'm not seeing that represented.
They are, oh, excuse me, let me find that drawing.
I see daylilies and dwarf fountain grass.
Yes,
That's it.
yes.
I just want to comment too that around the perimeter, this is Tom Scott's Cochran Architects. Around the perimeter, along the fence that's along Maple, there's a very intense row of, I think they're arborvitae. They're very tall. They're about 6 or maybe more feet. So they really screen the view into the parking field.
We are showing some landscaping on the new island that we're cutting in the front of the buildings, but we have not added,
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in these drawings.
should be on sheet 505, L1.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But I don't see any plant material listed here except for those low perennials, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But I'm looking at your architecturals, and that certainly shows trees and shrubs. Yeah. Yep,
Does have a tree.
it does.
It does.
It
and
does.
They should be low shrubs in that whole area.
You can't get it to look like that?
We'll
Yeah,
we'll add some trees.
All
I
right.
think we can add trees and shrubs per the rendering, to really.
Okay,
I mean, if you can do
Yeah,
that, that's
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
drawing,
Look at it and come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
please. Drawing number, let's see, what's this drawing number? A1, I believe. It's the first floor
Yes.
layout.
Yes.
Yes.
To the left of the building wall, I'm seeing some sort of construction on the outside of the building. What is it? Yeah,
We're here.
yeah.
That's just a walkway. This is a walkway around the building.
Now, what are the boxy things that I'm seeing?
They're blowers. They are part of the assembly area. They provide
Cleaner.
air to these shaker machines. I don't know all the technical terms, but there's several. of
It's a
these
vibration.
boxes. It's a vibration.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Ryan Adams. Yeah, that's conditioning equipment for the equipment that's located on that side of the wall. That's why it's located on that side. It's on the.
But it's outside the building, yes.
It is. Yeah.
So is your landscaping going to provide any kind of screening of that stuff?
That wouldn't be visible from the road, only from the back of the property.
Yeah, we hadn't intended to do any screening, landscape screening of those elements. Again, they're not visible from Maple Road, or the parking field for that matter. They're really kind of in the loading zone and driveway zone behind the building.
All right, and the last question I have, I think, is, given that your parking is, what would be the bottom of this drawing?
Yes.
During construction, how are you going to manage the safety of your employees to park and get across that construction area?
So what we're, somebody had a plan up there and then
Oh,
it
which
disappeared.
one do you want?
So,
You tell me which one you want.
this one, I guess it's C2 maybe?
Is that it?
That's as good as anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
go ahead, point it
Yeah.
out
So
there.
essentially, what
Yeah.
we would do is we would construct like a tunnel in this area so that employees could come across and then through the tunnel into the building, or if at times when this area is under intense construction, there's a main entrance here, and employees would be requested to come through the main entrance in the front of the building. So we'll try to use this as much as possible during construction, but when it's not available or the construction prohibits that, we'll have them come through the front of the building here.
Is your construction vehicles access around to the back of the building?
It would-
Or through
right, it
that
comes
parking
in
lot?
this drive lane and around this way, and then they can come back out this way.
Alright,
Right, so not through the parking field.
okay. That's all the questions I have.
Henry?
Quick questions. Parking lot lights, are you adding any more parking lot lights?
Yes, it'll be new parking lot lights.
Where are they and how many and?
Where's your light plan?
They're on the landscape plan, and they're in this area across these parking lots, these parking spaces. Building will be lit from the outside of the building, and then a series of parking lot lights here, and outrun what we don't want to go all the way out, spill over onto the adjacent properties. So it'll just be lighting up that parking field.
That, that's a concern that I've heard from some of the neighbors, was they're just worried about light spilling off.
Right.
You know,
So we're keeping it all
The fence and everything outside looks great. You guys have done a great job as far as making the facility look better. I applaud you on that. I'm just, usually we see some sort of light, we wanna know what type of K rating it is,
I can get you
and, we
catalog
want,
cuts.
yeah, we want it so it doesn't spill off the
Yeah,
property.
we
Right.
can use a shielded fixture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just, that's just one thing that we need to see. Other than that, I'm
We'll
fine.
provide those.
Okay.
So just on his note, we have specific bylaws as far as shielding,
Yeah,
and downlighting. So get with community development, or Bob Morse, your neighbor, because Bob wrote it. So,
Okay.
make sure that complies. Mike,
Nothing in addition to what's already been brought up.
Ed,
Okay, I got about 3 or 4. Let me finish on the lighting. We also want to keep it, if we can, to 4,000 degrees Kelvin.
or less.
Or less, yeah. We're softening the lights around town. Okay, so on to my specific questions. Take me through the accounting, please, of the parking spaces by pointing out with your fingers on there.
Sure.
Where we're adding, where we're taking away, because I'm getting lost in the 42 and the 22 and everything else.
42 new parking spaces. There are 17 at the back.
Okay,
There are 25 along the front.
all right.
So 42 new spaces, and they're taking up 20 spaces in this area here, and then by the repositioning of all the parking to line up properly with those.
Okay, so the yellows are,
Yellows are the new ones, and in this area here underneath the building, there are 20 spaces.
okay, and you're working with the Conservation Commission on
Yes.
those in back there.
All these back here, yes.
Okay, are you aware we request a contribution to our 53G account for every new parking space? Anybody make you aware of that yet?
No, just
well,
reading
you're
it in
aware
the
of it
comments.
now.
I am aware of it now. Saw that today.
That's for sidewalk improvements and intersection improvements. Okay. When you come back, can you detail the infiltration system for us?
Yes.
It sounds like you're still in the design phase. So we normally like to see, as part of the planning board drawings, all of the detail on your infiltration system.
Yes.
I presume the roof runoff from the new addition is going into,
Into the old system, and that's why we wanted to make room. We're providing the new system up at the street is to pick up the remainder of the new pavement that we're adding.
okay, but it's not just gonna run off, it's gonna be the building's gonna be infiltrated into the ground.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to see those details next time. Nancy brought up, I guess you call it I'll use the word blowers. When you're in, with the addition of this with the addition proposed, are we adding any blowers that don't exist there today, or any exhausts that don't exist there today?
No. No. No.
You need
So
to,
there are 3 blowers that exist today in the location of the addition here. They're being relocated around to the back here. So those exist, and we're just moving them around to the back. So the functions that are here are moving into the addition, and the blowers are being put there.
Okay, and you'll be sensitive to noise generation from the blowers?
Pardon me?
You will be,
is there any noise generation from the blowers?
So the blowers are encased in a box, like a steel box, so there's very little noise that's
okay,
emitted.
just a rhetorical question. Be sensitive to the
Yeah.
exhaust and the noise that a blower generates.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, if you have to shield it and make it go up instead of go straight out, shield it and make it go up. That's it for me, George.
Glenn?
I think I'm good at this time.
Monica?
They hit lights, landscaping, and parking, so I'm good right now.
Okay, my turn. So, the question, I guess, is how much new pavement is being created in the back with those 17 spaces? Is that new pavement or is it existing pavement that you're converting?
The 17 in the back is a combination of, we've brought it in a little bit. There is some paving back there now, and there are a couple of small sheds that are going to be removed. So that will be all new pavement back there as well.
But is it
Replacing?
impervious now? Or how much more impervious surface you're creating?
I can get you those numbers. I believe it's in the order of 6,800 square feet.
So the question I have is, how does it impact your existing drainage system? Where you just said the proposed addition, now you're adding about 6,800 square feet into that. I know you're adding another drainage system for the new parking spaces over on the side.
Right.
So basically, you're creating some new pavement plus the building, so.
Well, the building is going.
Is your system capable of doing a 100-year storm?
We believe it is, and we're going to verify those numbers
Okay,
with the
so Christina,
infiltration
you're gonna work with them on that?
Yes.
So the other part of it is the new drainage system, you say is only good for a 25-year storm?
Yes.
Why, can you do any better on that? or-
We will confirm that with the test results, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, the thing about the building, it's going where there's pavement now, so the
Right.
building doesn't create any more runoff than already happens.
right. So
It's
that's
only-
impervious surface to building, plus the
Right.
new impervious surface, so it adds to it.
Right.
So after that, I think I'm fine. 195-17B is that you are exceeding the number of spaces that are required by our bylaw. I assume
Yes.
it's because of you need them.
We need them for the new employees and for visitors that come to the site. Yes.
Evan, do you have any comments? Christina?
No.
So this is a public hearing. You have an opportunity for the public to speak. I wish you would step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Bob Morse, 19 Maple Road, right across the street. Lockheed have been great neighbors through the years. We appreciate them. The one thing that I'd like to ask about is on the lighting. Existing lighting that's across the street along Acton Road, there's some big existing floodlights for the parking lot. Will those be changed to full cutoffs, or are those going to remain?
Yeah, Gary Belrose is our facilities manager.
Gary, you need to come to the microphone.
Excuse me. Hi, my name's Gary Belrose, Facilities Manager with Lockheed. We would upgrade all the lighting during this project, during this time.
Is that on the plan?
To meet all the requirements. No, it isn't at this time, but it will be.
Okay, so I guess for the next meeting, we'd really like to see a lighting plan with the upgraded
With the cut
light.
sheets.
Be sensitive to full cutoff lighting, and so we have, you're supposed to keep all your light on your property, so,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Do you need a foot candle study? Is that?
Just get with Evan, he'll tell you what we need,
Okay.
so,
It's usually standard.
yeah.
That's great. And the only other question is, how many new employees do you anticipate?
The expansion this 13,000 is not for a whole lot of employees. We anticipate 20 to 30, but that's over a long term. You know, it's not immediately the requirement, but that's what we're planning it for.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? If you want to just queue up in line, it would just go, we got a pretty heavy agenda.
Marlene Lynch, 14 Parkerville Road. I want to know how many employees they have, and they've only got 45 parking spots?
No, they have altogether
That-
322
people?
No, they have 322 parking spaces altogether.
Altogether?
Yes.
And how many employees do you have now?
Currently, we're approximately 260 employees.
260, and you'll put 42 more in there?
It's 22 more.
22 more?
Yes.
Because the traffic on that road between 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, Parkerville, is unbelievable. And there's children walking to school. It's a problem. I've been there 52 years. I've seen it. And I think we owe something to the people even using the trail. And the corner, by Kate's Corner, to try to get out of there in the morning or come in, it's not very nice.
Okay.
So that's all I've got to say.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucian Lebrecq, 5 Garrison Road, Chelmsford. So I have a few questions and a few comments. First, Lockheed Martin is a great company. I respect Lockheed Martin. I actually do some business with Lockheed Martin myself. And they're great for our community. They provide good jobs for the area, and that helps out Chelmsford, including the tax benefits. I do have some concerns I want to express. One of the concerns is safety for the kids at Byham School. I'm one of the parents who walks my kids to school quite often. And so if there's a big construction project, obviously there's going to be a lot of construction vehicles and workers in the area. How is Lockheed going to protect the kids of Byham School during this whole process?
Just ask your questions this way, and then we'll accumulate them, and, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Just ask the board, and, okay?
Sure.
What else?
How is Lockheed Martin going to ensure safety for the kids of Byham School?
Okay. Do you have any other questions for him?
I do, but that's one question. Should I just list all the questions first?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now it's a large area actually that's going to be expanded besides the traffic. So the building is 12,800 square feet. That's over a quarter acre. That's a large area. A quarter acre, you can fit hundreds and hundreds of people.
I got you.
So why? So you say 22 new employees, maybe approximately, but does that include additional equipment?
So, first, it's a quarter acre on the ground, but it's 2 stories, so it's only 6,000 square feet, which comes out to about a tenth.
It's a quarter acre, 2-story addition.
It's 6,200 and something square feet on the ground. Footprint. So, and it's 2 levels, so 6,200 and 6,200.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so it's about 10-15%. You know,
So yes, it's a little more than a quarter of acre new space for employees. Is there going to be how much equipment is in that area besides the new employees?
yeah, I don't think that's part of our purview is what they have in there for equipment. I think we have an idea of it's going to be manufacturing and some employee break rooms. So,
Okay, so the reason why I ask is because there can be more noise and there's going to be more light pollution. And so we do need so I'm requesting some kind of metrics for the noise pollution and light pollution.
okay. Well, we're addressing the light by having them submit a plan and bring all the lighting standards up to today's standards, which are far greater than, I think those were written in the 90s. Bob? They were in the 90s. I think they were in the 90s, and they forced full cutoff lighting and that type of thing. I have a feeling they've been there a lot longer than the late 90s.
Okay. And so another question is, has Lockheed Martin considered moving to vacant real estate in Chelmsford that fits the same? Because there's a lot of vacant real estate that they can move into, say, down Route 129, right? And so that's a good option as opposed to building in a very residential area.
Okay. Okay. You all set for now?
For now, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, I guess to probably the engineer or to Tom?
Ryan.
Ryan. Do you have you're going to put together a construction schedule, and, what do you expect for construction vehicles?
Yes, we can put together a schedule and estimate. We can speak with some contractors that we have associations with and come up with a rough guess at number of construction vehicles on a daily basis.
Okay, and then the concern is the Byam School, which is right around the corner. Their start times, of course, they have buses coming and going, parents coming and going. So, like to get an idea of the construction schedule around that time the school starts and that type of thing. So if you can put that together, so that way, I think that would help ensure the safety of the kids at the school. And then I think noise pollution you kind of address. You're going to the air handlers or whatever they are, the vibrating machines they're existing now.
That's correct.
And any of the utilities, air conditioning, and that type of thing is going to be up on the roof, and you're going to screen them.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else from the public? Please step forward.
My name is George Barnard, representing First Baptist Church of Chelmsford. Our property abuts the Lockheed Martin property on the east side. And we are also concerned with the traffic, the aggravation of the traffic situation at the corner of Maple and Acton Roads. As our parsonage is on the other side of Maple Road, at 3 Maple Road, and our church hall, Liberty Hall, is on the other side of Acton Road at 318 Acton Road. And crossing back and forth is already a bit of a problem. Any further traffic makes it more of a problem. We don't have any objections or questions about the construction, at least not so far.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Okay. Anyone from the board? Questions? I think you have a handle on what we're looking for. I think to get together with community development and the engineer to discuss drainage, lighting, construction schedule. Am I missing something?
No, that's pretty much it.
53G.
I'm not sure the traffic difference is big enough to.
Yeah, I don't know. The traffic's, to me, is only 20, you're talking 20 people. I don't, the traffic, the intersection's a bad intersection. We all know that.
Yeah.
So, it's.
It just is.
On lighting, question was the lumens. If you look at our requirements, that's part of the lighting plan. You gotta show what the estimated lumens are.
Okay. All right.
We'll do
Photometric plan.
We'll do a full photometric plan showing the foot candles on the ground.
Okay.
And show the cutoff fixtures and how they'll prevent the light
Yeah.
from.
Okay.
It's all, if you got any questions,
Yep.
see. hold on.
Just wanted to make sure that takes into account that all of the lighting's getting
Building lighting as well.
beautiful. So it'll
Yep.
be the whole site.
Right, it'll be anything that's on the building and any of the fixtures in the parking fields.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. So I think to ensure the safety, light pollution, noise pollution, I think we've addressed. Okay. Will you? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a note on that lighting plan, that it's a balancing act between keeping the light on the property and providing safety to your employees in the parking area.
I'm sure their insurance company
Yeah.
has
I
already addressed
understand.
that with
But
them.
I'm looking at the location of, the current location of these posts, and I'm concerned about lighting all of the parking area without lighting off-site. Right now, it doesn't look like it'll do it. So,
Yeah, we'll do a full study
yeah.
of that.
And you're gonna work on the landscaping.
And we'll also look at the landscaping as well.
Okay. Ed's got one more question.
What's the operating schedule for this plant? Is it a one-shift plant, or is it 2, 3 shifts, 7 days a week? What's the operating schedule of this plant? Please.
It's primarily a one-shift operation. We have operations, Monday through Friday. We have a very small, what I would consider, set of employees that work on a second shift at night. But that's our primary operating hours.
Is this addition going to cause you to go to more second and third shift operations?
Our current business outlook, we don't anticipate going to any sort of extended second shift.
Okay. All right.
Again, this is primarily driven for more design engineering, which happens, our design engineers to make space to bring in more engineers for that kind of effort.
We're just concerned. You're close to a neighborhood, and we're just trying to understand how you operate.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to continue for December 6th.
So moved.
Would that be enough time for them?
Will that be enough time, December 6th?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
6th is fine.
Okay, so I got a motion by Mike to continue
Second.
16 Maple Road, Planning Board 2017-15 to December 6th. I have a second by Glenn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 104 Turnpike Road. Planning Board file number 2017-06. Continued public hearing.
That stuff?
George, you want to take a 2 or 3 minute break?
Yeah, what we're gonna do is we'll take a 3-minute break so they can set up, and then we'll read the letters in the record.
It's going to take me longer than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You can sign it.
Ah, George.
See, the one I posted.
Better not eat.
Okay, we're ready?
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is a continued public hearing, 104 Turnpike Road. Planning Board file 2017-6. We have a few letters to read. Why don't you give me a couple?
Yeah, do we want to read this into the
We'll go,
minutes?
I'll look at it while you read.
Okay, well, I'll start. Okay, first letter is from Jeffrey Gomes. It's to Evan Belansky, gentlemen, into the planning board. Gentlemen, what's being recommended is that mitigation be postponed until the project is 80% occupied, and then they have an additional 6 months to produce a report. Comment number one. The issue here is that it could take a few years to get up to 80% capacity. Meanwhile, the impacts at Turnpike-Road / Bellricker Road / Golden Cove Road, further known as the intersection, will be exacerbated. Comment two. If they only get to 50% or even 75% capacity and don't reach the 80% mark, they don't have to do any look back at the intersection. Comment three. The proponent has the majority of the information already, and any way to postpone mitigation benefits the proponent. 2 months to produce the report should be sufficient. Required timeline to complete mitigation would also be required. Comment four. When it does come to produce the look-back report, a couple of things may happen. One, mitigation proposed is not sufficient to mitigate the impacts. Or two, the proponent claims that the required mitigation far exceeds the expected mitigation costs of the project, so they claim not responsible. Number five, we have also seen the proponent state that the proposed mitigation of optimizing signal timings and changing lane designations does nothing to improve operations. The proponent could claim the same after the project is complete. The underlying issue is, why is the proponent allowed to build anything without requiring any mitigation at the intersection? The time to propose proper mitigation is during construction of the project, so that all work is completed simultaneously, which is fair. Too many variables, or what may or may not be appropriate mitigation and timelines to adhere to make mitigation upfront during construction of the project reasonable and proper. It is paramount that the conditions be written into the certificate of occupancy. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. That was from Jeffrey Gomes. Okay, this is from Stonegate, the Board of Trustees. Dear Planning Board members, the Stonegate community continues to have serious concerns about the proposed 104 Turnpike Road development. The developers, despite an overwhelming and negative impact of the surrounding residential neighbors, have not addressed the three major concerns of height, density, and traffic. The only limited mitigation by the project has been to shuffle units from front to back and suggest stoplights at the intersections on Warren and Mill Road. This is by and far the largest such rental residential project, not only within the 129 overlay, but also in the town of Chelmsford. According to an article written in the Lowell Sun on October 10, 2017, entitled "Chelmsford May Double Down on Housing," it states, if all the proposed and currently underway affordable and market rate rental housing projects go as planned, the number of rental units in Chelmsford, now at 625, will more than double over the next few years. Of the 598 units identified, almost half, 273, are within the 129 overlay. 168 at 104 Turnpike, 108 at Mill Road. At the last planning board meeting, one of the speakers suggested doing a look back at the traffic patterns once the project is completed. At that point, it's too late. The time to address the density of this project and the problems it will create in terms of traffic is now. This traffic, combined with the traffic from potential new businesses in 129 overlay, will paralyze the area. This is completely counterproductive to revitalizing this area. If anything, it will keep people away. As a solution, we support others who have spoken at previous public hearings for 104 Turnpike. Reduce the density of this development. This can be done by reducing the height of the buildings to 2 or 3 story buildings rather than the 4 stories currently proposed. This change would also help the development blend in with the neighborhood rather than overpower and dominate it. Second, we would ask the developer to seriously investigate the option of having the project's entrance/exit through the business district rather than onto Turnpike. This would alleviate congestion in the residential area. It would also connect the project and its residents to the amenities of 129 area. What efforts are being made between the developer and abutting businesses for this to happen? We've not heard of any. More responsibility needs to be placed on the developer and abutting businesses to come up with more workable solutions. They are the ones ultimately benefiting from what is supposed to be a work, live, play environment. Thank you for your time and consideration. Please hear and act on our concerns. We ask the planning board not to ignore the residents' pleas for reduction, size and density, to partner not only with the developers but also with the Chelmsford residents of this neighborhood, residents who have supported the town for decades. Best regards, Stonegate trustees. And it's 62 homeowners, okay? All right, let's go into the Department of Public Works now. This is a letter to the planning board from Steve Yanley. Okay. Dear members, this office has reviewed the prepared traffic study for the proposed project. The outside peer review of the study and associated comments in regards to both. Based on our review, knowledge of the roadways and future plans, we offer the following comments. 1, it is not recommended that three-way stop control be placed at the Turnpike-Road, Warren Avenue intersection or the Turnpike-Road, Mill Road intersection. 2, the comprehensive permit project at 276 Mill Road committed $50,000 mitigation funds to the intersection of Mill Road and Turnpike for various improvements when certain milestones of the project have been met. As to this date, those haven't been met and the proposed measures have not been implemented. So it is unclear the impact those measures will have on the functionality of the intersection. The applicant has agreed to look back at 80% occupancy of the project. It is anticipated that when the project is at 80%, the mitigation resources are in place from the 276 Mill Road project. Okay, number 3. No adjustments to the timing at the Golden Cove Road, Bellrica Road, Turnpike Road signal is necessary at this time. Again, the applicant has agreed to a look-back study for the intersection at 80% occupancy. If it is determined that the project has had an adverse effect on the functionality of the intersection, and signal and timing adjustments can be made at that time and evaluated for effectiveness. 4, no lane reconfiguration is recommended for the signal at Golden Cove, Turnpike Road, Bellrica Road. The study indicated a potential for lane changes, but the changes are part of the original design and did not function. Okay, 5. The project will contribute over $30,000 to the Bellrica Road Corridor 53G traffic mitigation account. These funds can be utilized for survey work associated with the proposed sidewalk installation on Turnpike Road or other improvements. 6. The project also proposes sidewalks along the frontage of the property and a crosswalk connection with rapid flash beacons to allow access to Warren Avenue sidewalk network. Sincerely, Steve Yanley. Okay, let's get on with this one. This is What's this one?
Can I read it?
No, I get it. Okay, just had to figure out where it was. Okay, this is from Chris Bowman. It came in at 4:44 today. So, almost didn't make the package. Dear Planning Board Chair and members, as you know, at the October 11th, 2017 Planning Board meeting, the 104 Turnpike-Road project stated that it would look at various options to reduce structure heights to within 45 feet. The IA dimensional requirements for maximum building height, maximum stories is 4. And take another look at the density. These options are not discussed at the last meeting on October 25th, 2017. Up until that time, the building maximum heights are 63 feet 2 inches, 5-story, and 51 feet 10 inches, 4-story, and the density of 168 units per the August-September site plans. With the planning board meeting agenda for tonight, November 8, 2017, the site plan shows a maximum building mean average height of 55 feet, and maximum stories of 5, dated October 13, 2017 for revision 1, and October 31st, 2017 for revision 2. Please address the developer options on maximum height, maximum stories, and density at tonight's meeting. Thanks for consideration. Best regards, Chris Bowman, Precinct 4, Julio Street. That's it for me, George.
All right, the other letter that we have is from traffic engineer. We're gonna go through it pretty quick, it's pretty long. So just, we'll see how far we go. And okay.
Is that the one from Mr. Dark?
Yeah.
He is here, so you could, if you don't want to read it in, you could summarize it.
Well, that's kind of what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of go quickly through it, and then there's a summary at the end, there's intro, and then there's a couple of little ones here, so. Vanessa and Associates, Inc., VAI, has completed a review of the supplemental materials submitted on behalf of Kinlock Investments LLC, the applicant, in support of the proposed Turnpike Woods multifamily residential community to be located at 104 Turnpike Road in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, herein referred to as the project. The information was prepared in response to comments that were raised in VAI's October 19, 2017 review letter and consisted of a memorandum dated October 25, 2017, prepared by Howard Stein Hudson on behalf of the applicant. Based on the review of the supplemental information submitted in the support for the project, we are satisfied the applicant's engineer has addressed the comments that were raised in our review letter pending receipt of the revised site plans. For reference, listed below are comments that were raised in our October 19th review letter that required additional information and analysis, followed by a summary of the response submitted by HSH on behalf of the applicant. The additional comments indicated in bold text for identification. To the extent the planning board is inclined to act favorably on applications, suggest conditions of approval have also been provided. So, first one was the pedestrian bicycle facilities. The applicant didn't provide description of bicycle facilities within the study area. The response was the applicant's engineer indicated the study area roadways do not afford accommodations to support bicycle travel in a comfortable manner, and the closest bicycle facility project is Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. No further response required. Motor vehicle crash. They asked for motor vehicle numbers from the police department. The applicant's engineer provided an updated motor vehicle crash analysis summary table, and the updated analysis confirmed the motor vehicle crash rate at Turnpike Mill Road intersection exceeded MassDOT statewide District 4 average crash rates on signalized intersection. The applicant's engineer stated that the use of MassDOT crash diverse data from Town of Chelmsford Police is appropriate at this time, given the pending safety improvements that are to be completed at the intersection by town, using funds to be provided as part of the mitigation commitments for 276 Mill Road, so no further response there. Future conditions, no build conditions. In addition to roadway improvements, projects that were identified within the study area as part of town. Complete streets prioritization plan improvements were identified in Turnpike Road, Mill Road intersection as part of 276 Mill Road. And the applicant's response, the applicant's engineer and the Town of Chelmsford Department of Public confirmed the plan improvements at Turnpike Mill Road intersection that will be completed by the town using funds provided as part of the mitigation of 276 Mill Road. It's expected the funds for those improvements will be provided to the town in 2018, with the intersection improvements to be completed shortly thereafter. Traffic operations, traffic operation analysis was complete using appropriate methodologies. We are in general agreement that with the reported results and identified impact of the project on operating conditions at the study area intersection. That being said, the analysis should be revised to address the following technical comments, and there's peak factor hours, heavy vehicle percentages. Heavy vehicle percentages should include buses, Turnpike-Road, Mill Road, Golden Cove. The applicant's engineer revised the traffic operation analysis to incorporate the requested changes, and we are in general agreement that the refinements in the analysis did not result in any significant changes that would alter overall findings that were presented in September 2017 traffic impact analysis study with respect to the potential impact of project and transportation infrastructure. A review of the resulting improvement that could be attained through the implementation of lane use changes, traffic signal timing. The Borica Road, Turnpike Road, Golden Cove indicates the completion of the suggested improvements would not yield a significant benefit toward reducing motorist delays or vehicle queuing. As such, an alternative improvement strategy for the intersection has been developed in consultation with the applicant and the Town of Chelmsford Public Works. Recommendations. We're in agreement with the recommendations and mitigation comments that have been detailed by the applicant's engineer, which suggests that the following additional measures be considered to address the projected impact of the project on the transportation infrastructure. 1, pending a determination as to the status of the improvements to Turnpike Mill Road intersection that were to be completed as part of the 276 Mill Road development, facilitate the completion of a road safety audit, the intersection, and commit to funding the identified short-term, low-cost safety enhancements identified as part of the RSA, and 2, design and implement an optional traffic signal timing and phasing plan for the Borica Road, Turnpike Road, Golden Cove intersection to include a review of the yellow and all red clearance intervals and pedestrian crossing times. Response, given 1, the pending improvements that are to be completed by the town of Turnpike Mill Road intersection, 2, the scheduled reconstruction of Borica Road, Riverneck Road intersection, which will benefit traffic operations along Borica Road corridor and at the Borica Road, Turnpike, Golden Cove Road intersection. Is suggested the applicant conduct a post-occupancy review of traffic operations and a safety at Turnpike Road, Mill Road, Borica Road, Turnpike Road, Golden Cove Road intersections. To the extent that the planning board is inclined to act favorably on the application, a suggested condition for the post-occupancy review is as follows. Within 6 months of achieving 80% occupancy of the project, the applicant will conduct a post-occupancy traffic operations and a safety study at the Turnpike Road, Mill Road, and Borica Road, Turnpike Road, Golden Cove Road intersections consisting of the following elements. 1, performing manual turning movements and vehicle classification counts during weekday morning 7 to 9 a.m. and evening 4 to 6 p.m. peak hours. 2, evaluating motor vehicle crash data for the most recent 3-year review period based on crash records provided Town of Chelmsford Police Department to include calculation of motor vehicle crash rates and preparation of motor vehicle collision diagrams. And 3, evaluating traffic operation levels of service, motorist delays, and vehicle queuing for both weekday morning and evening peak hours. Results of the monitoring program will be summarized in a report to be provided to Community Development Director and the Department of Public Works within 2 months after the completion of the data collection effort. The report will include specific recommendations to improve traffic operations and the safety at the study intersection to the extent that is determined that either of the following conditions is A, one or more movements at the intersection are operating below level service, D, or B, the calculated motor vehicle crash rate in the intersection exceeds MassDOT statewide or District 4 average motor vehicle crash rate. Site plans mark crosswalks with ADA compliant wheelchair ramps provided. Crosswalk and ADA compliant wheelchairs will be added to the site plan. Comment 2, vehicles exiting the projected site should be placed under stop sign control with a marked stop line provided. Response, a stop sign and marked stop line will be added to the site plans. 3, site triangle areas of the projected site driveway intersection with Turnpike Road should be shown on the site plan, along with noted and indicated signs, landscape, and other features located within the site triangle areas to be designated, installed, and maintained as not to exceed 2.5 feet in height. The site triangles are in requested note will be added to the site plan. That was a response. Comment 4, a note should be added to the site plan stating all signs and pavement markers be installed within the project site shall conform to applicable specifications of manual and uniform traffic control devices. Response to the requested note will be added to site plans. 5, consideration should be given to installing electric vehicle charging stations. The applicant will consider the installation of EV charging stations at certain locations within the project site. Comment 6, the school bus waiting area should be provided at an appropriate location defined in the consultation with the town or Chelmsford School Department. A school bus waiting area will be added at the entrance of the project site. 7, comment 7, a tenant move-in and out management plan narrative should be provided. A response to tenant move-in out and in-out management plan will be provided by the leasing company pending project approval. Summary, VAI has completed a review of the supplemental materials submitted on behalf of Kinlock Investments LLC in support of proposed Turnpike-Woods multifamily residential community to be located at 104 Turnpike-Road in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. This information was prepared in response to the comments that were raised in VAI's October 19, 2017 review letter and consists of a memorandum dated October 25, 2017, prepared by H.A. Howard Stein Hudson on behalf of the applicant. Based on our review, the supplemental information submitted in support of the project was satisfied that the applicant's engineer has addressed the comments that were raised in our review letter pending a receipt of the revised site plans. This concludes our review of the materials that have been submitted to date in support of the project. If you should have any questions regarding the review, please feel free to contact me. There's an attachment about trip generation comparisons. I don't think we need to go through that. And the last letter is, I think it's a summary of that. Vanessa Associates has completed a review of the traffic characteristics of the proposed Turnpike-Woods multifamily residential community located at 104 Turnpike-Road, Chelmsford, Massachusetts, herein referred to as a project. In relation to those of an office or industrial use that could be located on the project site pursuant to the underlying zoning. This information was presented in a memorandum dated October 30th, prepared by Howard Stein Hudson, and demonstrated the project will generate less traffic on weekday, daily peak hours than will be expected to be generated by an office or light industrial use that could be located on the project site, 176,000 square foot of office or industrial space. We concur with HSH's assessment and would add that both office and light industrial use would produce additional truck trips to the area that would not be associated with residential community. If you have any questions regarding our review, please feel free to contact me, Jeffrey S. Dirk. Okay, that completes that. All right.
Good evening, Mr.
Ron.
Chairman, members of the board. Douglas DeShane representing the applicant. What I'd like to do first is address a couple of questions and deliverables that were raised by the board at the last meeting, and I think the chairman just referred to one of them. You had asked us to provide a trip generation comparison for the proposed project versus what we would see for traffic under an industrial use or an office use. The uses that we use for the comparison, I will remind you, are both uses allowed as a matter of right. They would not require the litany of special permits and other permits that the proposed residential use is requiring. So as you can see, quite simply, and I'm not a traffic engineer, and Mr. Dirk was kind enough to provide the board information that this information is accurate and was done correctly. But just to highlight, from a daily traffic perspective, you can see that we're at 1,118 trips. The industrial use would be 1,230, and certainly a larger percentage of those would be truck traffic as opposed to vehicle traffic or cars. With respect to an office use, you can see that the daily traffic produced by an office use that would be allowed by right is over 1,900 cars, so significantly more than we are producing. In terms of impacts on the AM peak hour and PM peak hour, you can see that there are some differing comparisons in the sense that the AM peak in trips are dramatically raised under the other two uses, as well as however, the out trips are reduced, but overall, the total trips during the AM peak hour are more than doubled, nearly tripled in the case of industrial, and 4 or 5, 3.5 times under the office use. With regard to PM peak hour traffic, you can see that while there would be a reduction in the in-traffic at night, there is a dramatic increase in the out traffic, and that the totals would be dramatically higher. So significant differences under the allowed, by right allowed uses compared to what we are proposing. A second deliverable or a request was that we worked with Mr. Yonley to get you a letter regarding his opinion on the traffic and the mitigation, and you were kind enough to read that recently, so I won't go into that. Lastly, at least with respect to these types of deliverables, one of the things we were asked to modify was the landscaping along Turnpike-Road in front of the first building. You'll recall we've had a lot of discussion and modification of this building since its original proposal. It was taller. We've reduced it to 2 stories so that the project can be in keeping with the not only the residential across the street, but in keeping with some of the industrial and commercial buildings we see now. We were asked to provide front door to this building and make it, more appealing and inviting with respect to the residential structures and the access from the street. We were able to do that. You'll recall we have provided both a walkway as well as a front door architecture on this building. But at the same time, we were asked to do what we could to hide the building and to provide more landscaping. So what you can see we've proposed, and I do believe this was submitted to the board in advance, we are proposing a landscape berm between the sidewalk and the landscaping adjacent to the building. That berm is approximately 2 to 3 feet high. The overall length, Katie, do you know approximately what that overall length is?
The building's about 100 feet long, I believe.
The building's about 100 feet long, and that appears to me...
The building's longer than 100 feet, I can tell you exactly.
Okay, but as you can see, the berm as proposed does provide significant screening, and I believe there's some additional 40 some odd plants just proposed on the berm. So I think we've addressed the concern of screening and buffer, while at the same time making it look more inviting to the street. So we believe we've been responsive in that regard. So those were really the 3 sort of deliverables that I took away from, or we took away from at the last meeting. I'd just like to say, as you know, my clients proposed this project following the town's adoption of the BAOD overlay district. I believe it was the first major project proposed under that bylaw. Being the first project under a new bylaw certainly presents challenges not only to us but to the board as well. We had to deal with a lot of interpretation, a lot of understanding of the bylaw and its purpose and intent, and I think we have spent a significant amount of time doing that. Throughout the process, which included, you'll recall, the applicability process, where we first came with the project to prove that it did in fact qualify under your CEIOD and BAOD bylaws, and proceeding right through this special permit process, which, as you know, includes considering neighborhood input and concerns. My clients have made significant revisions and changes to the project. It has evolved so that it could in fact address the concerns raised by the board and neighbors, and to address and answer and provide as much information as well as changes that we could, that were requested of us. We believe we've done a good job at that. We've addressed, to the extent possible, all of the concerns that have been raised. Whether those answers were always what someone wanted to hear or not we've provided answers to all of the questions is unfortunate, but we did always answer and address every concern that you raised. We were able to do that while both keeping the project consistent with your requirements under your BAOD and, quite frankly, keeping it economically viable. The project has to be designed in such a way that it can be successful for all involved, not only the developer, but the town of Chelmsford. And I think that success comes from meeting the purpose and intent of your BAOD. Based on the work that my client done, as well as significant work the board has contributed here, we do believe the project as proposed meets the purposes and intent of the BAOD that we addressed so many months ago. And we do believe that this project, in addressing that purpose and intent, will be beneficial to the town of Chelmsford. We have no new information to present tonight, but we are here to answer any further questions you have and to provide any further information you might want. But I have nothing new to present, so we would ask you to respectfully consider or ask for your consideration in approving the project so that we can move forward with building it. Thank you.
Okay. Monica, you have any questions?
If we do, as I mentioned, the peer review
Oh,
consultant.
yeah,
is still-
Jeff, you
is still
wanna,
here.
you wanna just give us a quick overview of everything that we...
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Jeffrey Dirk with Vanessa & Associates, your traffic consultant on this project. And I think that the chairman provided a very good overview of our analysis. I think the last time we were here, we had an initial comment letter. The applicant since responded to that comment letter, and you heard the summary of those responses. In essence, they've addressed all of the comments that we had. We had asked them to go back and do some more technical analysis relating to the Golden Cove Road intersection. And really what we were drilling down on is to come up with what we felt would be a set of mitigation measures or potential conditions of approval relating to the impacts of this project. And what we had talked about at the last meeting was trying to get that to dovetail in with work that the town is going to be undertaking in the area. And we think that what has been done between the analysis the applicant's done, our review, and then the Department of Public Works looking at that as well, is to come up with some mitigation measures that we think will actually be beneficial, address the impacts of this project. But I think importantly from the Turnpike-Road corridor is to make sure that we get some built improvements that we know are going to take place, but then this allows us the opportunity to go back and make sure they're functioning as designed, look at what the actual impacts of this project are, and then if we need to tweak any of those things, that we do it. So it's an efficient way of making sure that the improvements are effective, but then if they need to be tuned up, we're tuning them up. And I think then working with the Department of Public Works, we've come to the conclusion that that's a good way to address the impacts of this project. The chairman read what our recommendations are relative to the monitoring program. As to whether it's 80% occupancy and then 6 months after you actually get a report, we can tweak those metrics. I would suggest to you that most developers, and we do a lot of apartment communities where this monitoring is a condition of an approval, the developer can respond to this, but generally their business model, they want to be at least 80% occupied. Otherwise, they're not making any money. So they will ramp up and build the project and occupy it as quickly as possible. We generally see that at 80% occupancy, we're doing the monitoring within a year of when the project is actually constructed and up and running. It actually happens pretty quickly. So we think that that's a reasonable basis, but certainly the board can discuss, do you want to see it earlier? The other thing I would also suggest is that really at 80% occupancy, the majority of the traffic is realized. People have settled out. They know, geez, I'm going to go through Golden Cove Road intersection, or am I going to go through the Mill Road intersection? You want to let the traffic pattern settle out, given that these are new residents, and let them get used to the roadway, then see what the impacts are, and then address those impacts. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have now or later on in the presentation.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for him at this point?
No.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Any questions to my right? Any questions to my left? I knew it. Is the berm acceptable?
Oh, I could care less. But I do have a question for Katie. Katie, I know that we've talked in the past about the potential of access between 114 Turnpike and 21 Alpha Road. What's the current status of those conversations?
We have finally gotten a call back. We still haven't connected, but we finally did get a call back. Evan did actually put himself into the process a little bit to kind of help us a little bit to get some response from the owner. After many months of trying to get them, they did respond to us on Friday, and our attorney is trying to work with them to have a conversation about it. So it continues to progress. Thankfully, we finally did make contact with them. We haven't gotten anywhere quite yet, but the plan is still to propose the sidewalk to that area in hopes that that can come to fruition in the future.
Then the second question is, given that it hasn't been shut down and closed as an option, would it not be better to push that proposed garage toward the back such that you actually have access at that corner of your property?
Push the garage.
So if this is the site in question, this garage,
Right.
wouldn't it be better to push it back here so that you actually do have?
No, because we
access
don't
right
have
here?
the access points. The easement that exists
It's
on the
that
other
one.
properties is here.
Okay.
Which is why this is another property owner altogether, and the end of Alpha is actually over here.
Okay.
Further
All
this
right.
way. This actually ends up in private property as you get towards Turnpike-Road. So there is an existing easement here. It's just shared between the property
Okay.
owners, not
But
us.
this one is out of the question.
This is a
Any
this-
access there is out
Right,
of the
this is a
question.
different property. Well, actually, this is shared with this property owner and the property owner where my office is, but
Yep.
the whole intent was to get it to the end of
Okay.
Alpha, so
All right.
that would get us the quickest way there.
Okay. That's my only question.
Honey Mike?
I'm fine.
This is a public hearing. Anyone from the public that has anything new to offer, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Bill and Donna Cassidy, 83 Turnpike Road. Mr. Chairman, member of the boards, fellow residents. Based upon the last planning board meeting and a document I recently found, I want to make 3 points. 1, there appears to be a disconnect between town organization, in particular between the CEIOD and the Department of Public Works. While the CEIOD wants to create additional housing on Turnpike Road, the DPW schedule for addressing the road, traffic, and sidewalk needs of the current neighborhood won't be addressed till at least 2023. Maybe longer, depending upon what the mitigation will be for the endangered species living on Turnpike Road. 2, the Chelmsford Affordable Housing Plan, January of 2017, it was approved by both the Selectmen and the Planning Board and filed with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Board of Housing Economic Development, state the following. A, page 15, section 4.1, HPP priority sites. In the table listed in the document, 80 to 104 Turnpike was identified as a HPP priority site with the size of 16.1 acres. B, page 25, section 4.6, planned production targets. In the table listed in the document, 80 to 104 Turnpike, again referred to as a 16.1 acre site, was listed by the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board as being capable of handling 75 to 100 housing units or 125 to 150 rental units. As the Board of Selectmen and the Planning Board have already determined in this document that the optimum density of a 16.1 acre on Turnpike Road is 125 to 150 rental units, how is it that a 9 acre subparcel that is 56% of the original 16.1 acre size is being considered for 168 units? My math tells me 56% of 150 is 84 units. 3,
At the last planning board meeting, town council stated twice that it is the planning board's determination on what is the correct density of units for 104 Turnpike-Road. I would ask the planning board to look at all the documentation and feedback that has been gathered on this project at these meetings and make a decision that not only benefits the town, but also the abutters and Turnpike-Road residents as well. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Good evening, Tracy Cole, 97 Turnpike Road. As Evan stated at our last meeting, I had a conversation with him out in the hallway, and I do believe that he's correct. There is either miscommunication or misunderstanding on this by us laymen, I guess, on this whole situation. Evan had mentioned to me out in the hallway last meeting, which was what, 2 weeks ago? He said that basically that the building standards were deliberately left IA for this special permit area of the residential. Is that correct?
The underlying zoning did not change.
Was there a discussion, a recommendation, or anything in regards to having multifamily residential standards take precedent in these sections that you labeled are going to allow multifamily residential building? Was that even discussed? Was it recommended to be discussed?
When we did the overlay, we looked at the industrial district and the BAOD to allow residential in the industrial district.
Correct.
Okay? That was the discussion we had.
Right. But, I mean, it's my understanding when you build multifamily residential, you go by multifamily residential standards. Is there any other place in town that doesn't do that? I think that's where people are all getting confused, because when I first got this notice.
I think this board has got this message loud and clear that.
Well, I basically just want to know if this was your original intent to have multifamily residential build to the standards of IA, or primarily was it overlooked? Was it not in question? Was it brought up when the planning of this bylaw came into effect, or when you guys were discussing it?
When the overlay came into effect, we talked about many, many different things. I can't recall exactly what transpired as far as the residential end of it. I do that. I know that we allowed it, and like, you know, if you want to chime in, because I see you leaning forward. But, you know, as far as, I understand where you're coming from. There was confusion. There was some confusion that said because it's residential and multifamily, then it should fall back to the RM standards, and it's in an IA district. And there was a lot of confusion and a lot of letters that went around about it.
Right,
Okay?
but I'm
So,
being told that it was deliberately left IA. Consciously,
We
it
left
was
the
left
district
IA.
as IA, yes. We didn't change the district at all. So this lot could get an industrial building, an office building that is 200 and plus thousand square feet.
I understand that.
So, you know, that's the thing, that we did not change the zoning. We laid another layer on top of it to allow additional things within that zone. Because IA limits you what you can do in the zone.
Right.
So.
But when I received the notice, all the butters got a notice, the initial notice of the overlay. I think I, probably along with a lot of other people, just assumed that, okay, well, now they're going to allow multifamily residential, and you're going to build to the standard of multifamily residential. I think it was unclear in the notice that we received that it was going to remain
I won't disagree with you.
building to IA standards, which is obviously enormous.
I won't disagree with you. And all I can say is that I think this board needs to go back and look at some of that stuff. Unfortunately, we're here at this point. Okay, that's all I can say. I mean, I don't know, Evan, you want to chime in, or Mike, you want to chime in? I mean,
I'll just quickly say that the Bayode treats multifamily exactly the way the Ceoid did in commercial zoning districts. They use commercial dimensional standards to facilitate multifamily development in commercial zoning districts. That's exactly how the Bayode strategy was laid out. If the town wanted to apply existing multifamily RM zoning standards to either the Ceoid or the Bayode, it wouldn't accomplish anything. You'd be downsizing instead of upzoning. You'd be providing no economic incentive for a developer to build eight units per acre. It wouldn't work.
If I may add something, when we first started doing this, excuse me, all the hearings that we had over the changing of the zoning, the idea was to try to get it so that somebody would do something other than commercial or an industrial development on that whole street.
Right.
We were trying to take and make a buffer. I mean, to be honest, the zoning went in a long time ago. That IA has been there since
Forever. I know.
Forever. And the whole idea was, when we tried to put this in, was we're trying to soften it.
I understand the intent.
We understand it wasn't a great option. It never has been a great option. But that's how we ended up.
I
with this.
understand the intent for having the sections along Turnpike-Road and along Mill Road of multifamily residential. What is confusing people, primarily me, I guess, is that I think people thought, or I thought, when I received the notice, that multifamily residential, the areas that you allowed multifamily residential to be built in, were going to be built to the standards of multifamily residential standards, RM standards, right? Is that multifamily, right? Is that the right number?
yeah,
or
that's
letter?
right.
You're getting good.
So it was my basic question is, did you leave it that way intentionally on purpose because you wanted exceptionally large multifamily residential, or was it overlooked? And that's basically what my question is.
Let me chime in at this point.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Ed's dying to say something.
There are some of the discussion on multifamily, it just doesn't apply to Turnpike Road. There's another component of multifamily that we're also looking at for Route 129 itself. And when we started putting the words down on paper for this bylaw, we're looking at the possibility or the vision of actually having high-rise multifamily on 129 in the high building zone. So people understand, when you look at the Route 129 district, there is a zone in it that was created for high-rise buildings. We'll call them in Chelmsford 9-story buildings, but that's high-rise in Chelmsford. And
4-story is high rise at Shumpert.
not
anymore, right?
No,
Yeah.
never. 4 stories were allowed in industrial.
But we had discussions about how do we take this area and bring it up to now and try and get this thing going. So maybe some of it was left vaguer, but we're also looking at that if you get over on the 129 side, you might find a seven-story apartment building 10, 20 years from now. You might find that. Because there's
That's
al-
higher than in downtown
So,
Lowell.
so I'm gonna stop this, I'm gonna stop this discussion because, I'm gonna stop the discussion.
Okay.
Because we're getting off track here. The bylaw at this point, they've applied under the bylaw. Here's the bylaw, we have it, we have the project in front of us. What transpired previous, when we originally did this, the overlay? Well, we are finding out we have some more work to do later, okay? But right now, I can't answer your questions. I don't know the answers to them. So,
Okay.
do you have any more information on this particular project?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? Anyone else from the public? All right, I have one more topic, and I think it's gonna go to, Katie and Christina on the 53G. Katie, you mentioned about surveying, using some of that money to survey from your property down to Golden Cove Road for the sidewalks. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you have any further discussions with Steve?
No further discussions about it. If that's something you direct the DPW to do, then we can go forward with that.
Well, I think
It
they were
would
willing
just
to
be-
do the survey for the sidewalk, which may speed up the process.
Right, so the conversations we had with Steve, and we talked again today for the letter that came out today, the survey number that we got, the survey combined with flagging the wetlands was $24,000 from essentially 104 Turnpike to workers. That would locate all of the existing conditions. The conversations that we had were that the first step to getting any sidewalks at all on Turnpike Road is to figure out where the layout of Turnpike Road is and the existing conditions within that layout to figure out where a sidewalk could fit and if property needed to be accessed and or taken to add sidewalks to Turnpike Road. So that would be essentially having that in their files would be a great thing to have on the shelf to say, to start designing on so that it could happen maybe quicker than
Right, from at least from
2023.
from 104 down to
workers,
down
right?
to workers.
Down to the
I would be
intersection.
going towards workers. I brought this up
So
at
we-
the last meeting.
We discussed this at the last meeting, and we talked about this with Steve also. So the idea is to get some connectivity. So there is sidewalk at that intersection. There's a crosswalk at that intersection already. That's part of the signalization that's at Bill Ricker Road, Turnpike Road, Golden Cove. It would allow people to come from Warren Ave. You could basically make a continuous loop. Warren Ave could cross over to 104, go all the way down to that, go across to Golden Cove, and use the sidewalks that exist on the 129 corridor already. Where going the other direction, you're basically providing another isolated section of sidewalk that's not going to connect
I just know that
everybody.
DPW is so, inundated with a lot of work.
Right, right.
And funding is, basically earmarked to a certain point. This might be an opportunity to use the 53G money to get the ball rolling, so to speak.
Was engineering supportive of,
Steve kind of was, I don't know if I got that feeling to him, but maybe we can leave that up to, maybe make a condition of it as.
at the discretion?
At the discretion of DPW to have them to do the survey work and not to exceed $24,000 of the 53G money.
Okay.
Unless they
Yep.
come back.
There's another 255.
Yeah. So it's gonna remain the total of 32.6, of which not to exceed 24 would go
Yeah.
towards, okay.
Yeah, and that way, at least there's a little bit of money there for,
Yep.
if Steve needs some
At the
additional
discretion of
workers.
DPW.
Yeah.
I think that was a way also, if I may, just to keep the money in the Turnpike Road section.
Keep it right in the neighborhood.
Rather than put it in a fund that encompasses the whole area, so.
So, you okay with that condition? How
I'm
about
certainly fine with it.
Ed?
Yeah.
Good.
Ed? Okay, all right. So you get that language in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and just while Katie's here, the perimeter walls, the retaining walls that are located on the perimeter of the property in certain locations,
Yes.
what's the,
Facade.
yeah, what's the facade of
It has,
those?
we haven't determined that yet.
Okay, what's the height of those, right? What do
They go
range?
between 0 and 8 feet, I believe.
So the ones that are in your plan here?
Mm-hmm. So there's some retaining walls along the top of the site and along the northern section of the site and the southern section of the site.
The reason I ask is that those are gonna be exposed to 19 and 21 alpha, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thought as to what kind of wall you would, for aesthetic purposes?
I don't know if it's been discussed yet. Usually, have you thought about whether it be concrete or block?
No, is it, may I approach? Is it in here?
No, right along the property line of 19 and 21, yeah, down there, yep. I think that's where one wall is.
Yeah, there's a section of wall there that goes up to 8 feet in height, and then there's a section on the northern side facing dielectric sciences that would go also to between 0 and 8 feet in height, I believe. So is there a thought to what those would, whether they'd be flat concrete or whether it would be a block wall?
It's not a cast in place, it would be a block wall, something that's aesthetically pleasing to the neighbors.
Right.
I would recommend we could just put that in as a condition.
They were
as
fine
well.
with that.
Okay. Anything else? So I'll go one more time. Any other comments from the public? Jeff, do you want to talk about your letter any further, or? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
That's fine. Jeffrey Gomes, 95 Turnpike-Road, and I just concur with Jeffrey Dirk's assessment. I'm in general agreement with what he had to say. And for projects that are built and developments and impacts in regards to traffic, we usually do wait a couple of months in regards to letting traffic find their way through neighborhoods, side streets, cut-throughs, and what have you, which is why I think that is fine to wait. I would say, based on the occupancy, I have no doubt that the project will be able to retain 80-90% capacity, given the demand. So it could be a condition as part of that, reaching 80% or at a time appropriate determined by the board. That could be also a condition to put in.
Okay.
I think that's in general what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate your help too as well on this, and sitting in on that with Jeffrey. All right, so at this point, I think we have everything we need. So I'll entertain a motion to, Katie, you have nothing else? Doug, you have nothing else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I will do so.
All right, so I have a motion by Mike to close the public hearing on Planning Board 2017-06, 104 Turnpike Road. I have a second by Henry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, so in front of you, do we want to take it, we should take it, I guess, to the next step. It's so, in front of you have a decision that was put together. Anybody, you want to go through it, or everyone had a chance to look at it?
I haven't had a chance to go through it in detail yet.
Yeah, it's quite lengthy, so you might want
Yeah.
to read it
Okay.
offline.
I'd kind of like to finalize the document itself
Okay,
next week
so,
or next meeting.
so we can do this one of two ways. We can take a vote, based on final review of this decision, make sure that everything's in place, or we can wait till December 6th, so, what's the feeling? What's your feeling?
Well,
Oh, you wanna take a break? I mean, I don't, how fast?
I think a straw poll.
I think a vote would probably work. They're probably looking Yeah,
to get some
it's not clear to me
closure.
that we're likely to see anything that's going to change.
Yeah, I think
We've
Ed
got all the data.
gave it a pretty good read. I gave it
I
a read.
I think it's
Think
just
we may
cleanup in
wanna-
terms of the document.
Okay.
But
Might make a suggestion, we may want to change some of the review times, the look-back times on the
Okay, so
traffic study and
let's
things.
go to that.
It's in there already. Don't ask me what page. Show us the
I
back.
made notes on it. It's page 8. Let's turn to page 8. So it's down, the first word, within 6 months of achieving 80% occupancy for the project and the completion of the previous improvements at Mill Road. Is that what you're talking about, Ed?
Yeah, it might be, you might want to put something like upon, if nothing else, make it a lot sooner, upon achieving 80% occupancy. They do it.
That was not the,
Fun?
that
You-
was,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be just a way of speeding up. I'm just thinking about ways of speeding up the look back.
Yeah, but you really, I think you want to get that 80% occupancy so you can actually see the effects of it.
Yeah, I think the comments about letting
Yeah.
the traffic
Letting
settle.
things settle in, right?
Letting it
You give them
settle.
the 6 months to let things flow a little bit, maybe.
Okay, all right. We discussed that one.
Sorry, Ed.
Okay,
Are you looking to put a time period on it, trying to anticipate
yeah,
how the
you know
phasing
me, I
goes?
always go for more definitive stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you could do a combination of within, let's say, 12 to 16 months of issuance of building permits and/or achieving 80%, whichever comes first.
No,
No,
because it doesn't
building
say that.
permits issue, I mean,
From,
well, it's gonna take
still-
you over 12 months to get that.
You're
the
gonna,
building
right,
done.
right.
Yeah.
You're gonna take a year and a half.
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
this.
it's going
Yeah.
to take a long time.
Months
I
after.
think the occupancy
you want the
is the right.
80%.
Six-
I think that's the right.
6
Okay.
months
I
after.
think
Metric
that's the
to
right
use.
number,
I do
because
too.
you always have some vacancies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So 80% is the right number, I think. It's, the question is, how long does it take to achieve the 80%?
Well, if they don't,
The question, yeah, they're gonna be in trouble.
Then they're
They're going to be in
deep.
real trouble if they
Yeah.
don't.
So,
Yeah, we'll be talking, yeah.
And with today's housing market, I can't imagine that they won't achieve it.
They can't see it's
Were
gonna.
there other provisions or sections that the board wanted to have a general discussion this evening?
No, I just want to clean up your verbiage.
Yeah.
Basically, the first sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's a variety.
Exactly. Things like that.
How about take out the word "for" and then it's a complete sentence.
how about page 9? It says all exterior lighting, both freestanding and wall mount, shall not exceed 4,000 kelvins and shall meet all zoning requirements.
Yes. I
See where I am, number 14?
Yep.
Let's just go back to the front
So-
page. We can kind of pound this through.
Still going through it?
Yeah, let's just quickly go through it, Mike.
Right.
And then we can,
Be done.
and let's not get into the too much grammar right now. Let's just make sure.
Send me
that-
those. You can send me those
I'll
after
send
the
them
fact.
to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are just scrivener's
I do
and
want to go through
articles.
this with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah,
In relation to this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not bugging out.
okay.
I'll put my cane down.
We have to close the public hearing, so we have to be careful, so.
Well,
No.
that's on the borderline.
Okay.
Did we get a final set of plans with the berm in there into the file?
We will.
Construction activities shall.
We will.
It has. It's been submitted.
There's a box back there that they have.
We have it.
Okay, so so the berm's in our plans. And they're appropriately referenced here, the date is appropriately referenced here, Evan?
What's your final data revision? Okay. Yep, it's in there.
Okay. Thank you.
So the first one's basically just, 2 pages basically just,
That's the dates.
yeah.
On page 2, 9, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, and then you have 2 sentences, and then you have A, B, and a blank C. I'm not sure what,
I didn't know if we wanted, if the board thought there was an additional theme that the neighborhood or abutters expressed that was worthy of notation.
you might say, not compatible or appropriate, particularly in respect to density,
Okay.
because I think that was
That's a major theme.
a major theme, yeah.
We're just reviewing some notes that we have.
Okay, now, is my recollection correct? There are no 3-bedroom units?
I think that's correct.
Okay.
It can come out of that.
They should do it now, but we don't know that it's.
I have a comment on the findings, if we're up to that.
Sure, go ahead. Evan?
Finding number 2.
What page? Use page.
Page 4.
Yep.
I notice item 2, we talk about will likely not have any measurable detrimental effect or impacts. I'm not sure that measurable is the right word here. Significant or something tighter than that, you're going to be able to measure
Which
something.
impact are we talking about?
Item number 2.
Item number 2.
I believe that term comes right out of the bylaw itself, but let me take a closer look.
Yeah, let's
think that's
drill
correct.
down on that.
I think that's actually a quote from the bylaw.
He's looking, just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
The term it doesn't use measurable, it says will not negatively impact developed areas in the surroundings.
Then I would go and get measurable out of there,
Yeah.
because you've got streets or other municipal facilities.
Yep.
You're certainly gonna impact the school system.
So, are you replacing measurable with anything?
Will not have
Substantial.
any
I
detrimental
don't know, I'm not
effect?
sure what the
No.
word is.
No, you don't like that one?
The bylaw uses,
Or just get that whole phrase
Take
out of there?
measurable and detrimental out and put negative.
Or just take it out and just leave it as, will not have any, no, you can't go-
Negative effects.
Or I would have said will not have overall. I mean, there's so many factors in here.
yeah,
You
right.
can look at any one factor and
Right.
maybe overall negative.
Overall
Unreasonable,
negative, that's a good one.
Yeah.
unreasonable, negative?
Yeah, that would be another way to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, you know, I'm a little leery of measurable.
Okay.
So
That's a
here's
good point.
overall negative.
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
good one, Mike.
Mhm.
This might take longer than I thought, so.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think it's gonna take longer than I thought.
Yeah.
So when we move forward,
Yeah,
take a vote, and then we'll just review.
yeah.
I don't think there's any substantial changes. There's just more grammatical and minor things.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we all go
Um,
through it and send our typos.
Yeah, I mean, I looked and I think we're okay.
Just got a question for Evan.
Yeah.
Evan.
Yep.
Has, Chelmsford Housing Authority seen this baby?
Yeah, I've forwarded this to David. He's reviewed it. In fact, we met with him,
In relation
No.
to the affordable housing section in this.
yeah,
Okay.
he's
that's what I'm
reviewed it,
concerned
and
about.
he agrees and supports being involved in the post-approval portion of the monitoring of the affordable,
Yeah.
being the lottery agent, the fair market housing agent, as well as the monitoring of the affordables.
We talked to the developer about him
No.
being the lottery agent?
No, no. We're closed the public hearing.
Oh,
So
okay, fine,
So as a local zoning application,
yeah.
the board has the ability to require that. Under 40B law,
Ah, okay.
the town doesn't have the legal ability to require. So
Well,
in this
I'm not
case,
totally conversant with all the 40B.
yeah, in this case,
regs.
it's whether it's a reasonable condition or not. So Paul Haverty, Town Council, has reviewed that language.
Okay, that
David
answers it.
Hedison supports it, and I believe that the applicant's team has also had a chance to review that language.
Well, you answered it for me with,
Okay.
as to that we can require it.
Yep.
Evan, when is Steve gonna put the extra lane down there for River Neck Road to help the traffic get through? I know he was talking about it. It's gonna be several years, or is it
The TIP project, couple of years out.
about 2 years out? I just wonder if they're gonna do a study, how it's gonna be affecting coming along at the same time when they'll be improving the things, but.
Christina brought an item to my attention, which is on the look back. And somehow we just may have lost track of this, but it doesn't appear to, if the look back indicates that adjustments are warranted, it doesn't appear to indicate who would implement
do
that,
it,
whose
yeah.
cost it would be implemented at. And I say that within the context of Steve Yonley's letter, where he's basically saying no significant physical modifications are viewed favorably. So then we're left with maybe signal adjustments, what other examples may exist from a look back? Maybe adding stop signs,
Yes, any other safety measures?
so they're not significant costs.
So the safety measures would be, is it typical that the developer would be responsible for that?
I mean, I think reasonably, if the look-back study is going to determine that the additional impacts based upon their project warrant.
Reasonable safety measures.
Yeah, that they would pay
be-
for them.
Okay.
You know, so I'm just thinking aloud here, based upon the fact that they're unlikely to be physical modifications.
So do you have clarity to that point?
I just wanted to point you to a fact in Steve's letter. He speaks directly to what the mitigation would be regarding signal timing.
Okay, so Steve, if Steve's only contemplating signal timing as, okay,
Signal timing and reasonable safety measures.
okay. So I will add a reference and notation to Steve Yonley's letter And that, you're interpreting that as the applicant would work with DPW to implement.
Yeah, as also discussed in the committee.
Okay, I apologize. Yep.
And to me, a reasonable safety measure would be a stop sign, a line, that type of thing, so.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so, I think this is pretty well straightforward, so. Let me find my notes here. All right, so, I will entertain a motion to approve Planning Board File 2017-06, 104 Turnpike Road. The BAOD project with associated special permits and site plan located at 104 Turnpike Road, in accordance with Article 22, the zoning bylaw, with the facts and findings as mentioned in the letter that we have here. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Glenn. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Nancy. Any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's an aye.
Are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
So,
Slow.
it's 7-0, no abstentions. And then at the next meeting, December 6th, we'll just check the wordsmithing to make sure that the wordsmithing is okay. So.
Thank you very much for your time.
I'm exhausted.
Next item on the agenda is meeting minutes.
Chair, if I may, thank you for a fair and thorough process. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So we have 4 sets of minutes in front of us. 2 were emailed to us last week, 2 were mailed to us, I think, yesterday afternoon. So,
No, this morning.
this morning.
Yeah, I didn't get that
So,
later.
everybody should have had an opportunity to look at the 13th and the 27th.
Yep, done that.
Okay, so I will take a motion on any changes or corrections on September 13th.
Then I will move
I'm
to,
out on that one, I wasn't here.
Okay,
I
so-
will move to approve the minutes of, this is September 13th?
September 13th.
Second.
Mike made a motion to approve the minutes of September 13th. Glenn, second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Ed abstains,
Oh, Ed abstains.
because he was out on that one.
6-0.
Thanks for the abstention.
Just tell me how,
I'll just tell you what to do, okay, Ed?
just wake me up and tell me when I voted.
Getting late for Ed. These have been long meetings.
Christine,
So,
before you leave, I got a couple questions for you.
So the next meeting minutes are September 27th. Everyone have an opportunity to look at them. Any questions, changing? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 27th.
Make a motion, we approve September 27th.
I have a motion by Ed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Henry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Glenn abstains. Do we want to take the time to look at 11 and 25?
I
Or
was looking at them this morning, I looked at them when I came in, I don't,
you good? Everyone's good? Minute,
Yeah,
Mike?
I'm okay.
You want a minute?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I glanced today. That was
Oh,
as
Mike's
far
gonna
as
love
I
you.
could get.
Monica, you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm abstaining from voting here, so.
Oh, yeah. I guess you would be really okay. I have a motion
on
by,
the 11th. Yep.
motion by Glenn to approve the October 11th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
Monica?
Abstain.
October 25th.
A motion for the October 20.
I have a motion by Glenn to approve October 25th. Do I have a second?
second.
Second by Henry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
We're caught up. on
Monica
minutes.
abstains.
you very much.
Old business? New business?
I do have something to ask our town engineer. The project, the new Medicheck in the center of town,
The Med Express?
Med Express.
Okay, yep.
We've added 2 telephone poles to that project. There were 2 telephone poles already on the project.
On the property or on the right-of-way?
On their property and on the right-of-way, one on either side of the road. I thought we were trying to limit the amount of telephone poles we were having in that center district. I know it was put up a long time. Is there a reason why we couldn't cut the road and have them go underground? Because they're coming underground all the way across the parking
It
lot.
went in front of the, as per state law, it went in front of the Board of Selectmen for a poll petition.
Yeah,
And I believe poll petitions are reviewed by engineering and maybe police for safety. Board of Selectmen did approve the overhead.
yeah, it's just, I see 4 poles in the
Yeah, it's a
property
lot of
now.
poles.
I mean, because the 2 that were existing now that they had there already, is still gonna have across the street on it.
Yeah.
I just think it's poor planning, because we're spending millions getting rid of them.
Okay.
And the other thing is, in front of,
Oh, yeah, you've got the Mylars.
All Saints. That service was ripped off the front of off the telephone pole last winter when they were plowing the snow. It still hasn't been put back up. We have another season coming up now for plowing. I know we redid the sidewalk around it and they've re-stretched it. Is there any way of
I can ask.
getting somebody to fix it before it gets ripped off totally? I mean, the same thing it's just one of those odd things. It should, if somebody looks up at the pole, the wires are being yanked
Okay, yeah,
straight.
so Christina will follow up on that
Yeah,
one.
Okay.
that's it.
Any other new business, old business? Committee reports? Seeing none?
I'd love to make a motion.
Okay.
I move to adjourn.
I have a
I'll
motion by
second
Mike
that.
to adjourn, and a second by Glenn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?